Hi there, my name is Steve Gearhart and this is the Unagi Observer. Thank you so much for stopping by and watching the video. Yes, this is the first video of the 2023 season. Thank you, welcome, and I hope you enjoy the season. Today we've got actually quite a few manga reviews to get through, so we're going to start off big, and why don't we just go ahead and just start. So before we get into Shy, just a real quick, I forgot to mention this. So all the manga that I am reviewing today came from this subscription that a friend gave me of Manga Spice Cafe. So it comes with snacks and 3 manga per box. So all these manga came from Manga Spice Cafe. No, they are not a sponsor of mine. It would be nice if they were. If they wanted to, they could reach out and contact and be my sponsor. Anyway, moving right along. So just wanted to let you know where these manga came from. They are all volume 1s. So this isn't kind of like a mixed match of, oh, here's volume 4 of this and volume 8 of that. No, these are all the beginning volumes of each of these series. So I'm going to go ahead and get into Shy. And because Manga Spice's cafe boxes are so awesome, they come up with these little guides for the manga and these are upside down manga, and a little bit of information about the people who made the manga. And so let's just start off with Shy. Just breeze through this really quick. Shy is the creation of Bukimi Miki. This is her first manga. Hooray for her! And it came out in Weekly Shonen Champion. She won the Next Champion Rookie Manga Award. She was the grand prize winner in 2019. She is serialized in Weekly Shonen Champion, and this series is currently ongoing, so if you want to check that out, you know where to go. Okay, so Shy, here's the manga. Cute girl in the front, right? So this is basically a more modern magical girl story. So basically Shy is a 16-year-old girl in Japan who becomes a hero with a bunch of other people around the world being heroes. And and the reason why she picks the name Shy is because, of course, she is an introvert in real life. So I am not the demographic for this, but having said that, if you do fall in the demographic of magical girl, you like stories about introverts and how they deal with things like that, this is definitely good. The reason why I say this is definitely a magical girl because the powers that are given to her by a well-intentioned being from outer space who knows that Earth needs help against the alien invasion, right? Or whatever bad things are about to happen. So this alien drops these bracelets around the world, and each country has a hero, and Japan's hero is Shy. And so she has various powers. They all have kind of more or less the same powers, although to varying different degrees. Super strength, can fly, things like that. And every now and again you get like individual heroes like Shy who has a hidden talent, so to speak. But it's definitely Magical Girl because one of the things that they fight against is this entity that is trying to draw out all the negative in the mankind so that mankind can self-destruct and destroy themselves. And so Shy uses her superpowers and her friends run around the world trying to fight this guy and try to heal people with the magical powers of love and friendship. So that's, again, not my cup of tea. But if that happens to sound like your cup of tea, I think you'd like it. The artwork is fine. It's not substandard by any stretch of imagination. It's actually pretty good. Story is pretty generic Magical Girl. So if that's your jam, I think you will like this. So check it out. All right, so let us go on to the next one. Okay, the next one up on the list is Barrage by Kohei Horiyoko. Horiyokushi. Let's try that again. So next up is Barrage by, Kohei Horikoshi. If that name sounds familiar, it should. It is My Hero Academia guy. So before he did that, he did Barrage. The only problem with Barrage is that this is literally a 2-volume series, and that's it. He couldn't come up with more after this. I think he intended to do more with this, but just never got back to it. But there is a story, volume 1 and 2. This is volume 1. He would go on to look back at a one-shot that he did called My Hero, and he would then expand that into My Hero Academia as we know today. So Barrage, what is this? This is about as shonen as you can shonenly get. This is it's basically My Hero Academia. You know the art. It's much more. It's pretty much all the same. The story is that this guy right here, the goofy-looking guy with the big smile and wearing a gas mask and a crown and wielding wielding a spear. It looks like Spear of Destiny. So his story is that he is a kind of just like in this kingdom. He's just a happy-go-lucky guy. He adopts orphans, like really, young orphans off the street. He takes care of them. He's like big brother to these kids, and he happens to look exactly like the crown prince of the nation that he is living in. The crown prince does not want to be the crown prince anymore, and he finds our main character, our protagonist, and he says, "Hey, let's do the switch." And then while this character is like going, "I don't know, I'm not so sure about this," an unfortunate thing happens, and he has to become the crown prince. So then this first volume is basically him being dragged into to the palace, and everyone thinks that he's the actual prince. He's not, and he is summoned there to be trained by this guy right here, who calls himself Tiamat. Yeah. Anyway, and to help fight against the aliens that are slowly taking over the rest of the world. This kingdom is kind of like one of the last holdouts, and the crown prince has to be able to wield the spear of whatever to fight the aliens, but only the crown prince can wield it. But look who's holding it. Indeed. All right. So if you're into shonen, you want a good quick story, something that's just going to move. This is definitely your jam. If you're My Hero Academia and you like that art and all that style, you're going to get so much more of the same in this. It's good. I enjoyed. Visually speaking, this is a very nice thing to read. Again, I don't know that this would be in my wheelhouse because I'm not that shonen. It obviously came in Shonen Jump magazine, but give it a go. If you're a fan of My Hero Academia, I think you will definitely want to take a look at this. It's only 2 volumes. I haven't read the second volume yet, but yeah, if this is your thing, go for it. And if you like My Hero Academia, definitely give it a try. I think you'll enjoy it. All right, third up on the list is Rainbow Days. So this is definitely a rom-com about a group of guys in high school about to graduate, within a year or two of graduating from high school, and they're trying to find love. The character on the cover here is the main protagonist, and he is unlucky in love, and he's trying to get his friends to help him. The person who wrote and drew this is Minami Mizuno. She's got some stuff under her belt. Let's see here. The list is Mr. Komatsu in Newspaper Club, We Don't Know Love Yet, and the most recent thing it looks like she's done is Together with Upperclassman Haragi in 2021. This was in, that's according to this, Basatsu Margaret from December 2011 to May 2018. So it had a 7-year run, and this is the first volume of that. So we get an introduction to the characters and things like that. I normally really enjoy romance and comedy things. It's kind of my Achilles heel. I do enjoy these kinds of things. This is drawn very well. I enjoyed it. I would be curious to see her other stuff, because this is kind of boilerplate rom-com, right? He's goofy, well-meaning, intention, attractive, his friends are a bunch of pretty boys who have their own proclivities. One of them is an otaku, the other one is very much a player. He's got like 5 girlfriends going on at the same time, and one is into S&M. No, it's not that kind of book. No, Hante, you don't really see anything of the S&M stuff, but it's referenced as a comedy tool for the story. It's very interesting because the guy starts off with a girlfriend who is not really a girlfriend, and he gets basically his heart trashed, and his friends try to build him up, and he comes across the girl, right? And so he is trying to figure out how to woo the girl, and hijinks ensue. And if that sounds like that's just kind of your regular rom-com, that's what this is. And again, this is something that I didn't dislike it. It was fine. I read the whole thing. I enjoyed elements of it. Some of it was pretty funny. But the cover doesn't really do the story justice. The cover is really, as you can tell, really well done. And unfortunately, the story is just, it's average. But like I said, because there's enough in here that makes me interested in Minami Mizuno's work, then I will probably check out some of her other stuff and see if maybe, because this was done early on in her career, and so she's probably more than likely improved since this. If you happen to see this and you want to get it, go ahead. I wouldn't tell you not to, but if you saw you had to make a choice between that and something else, maybe there's something else. Okay. But again, don't let my review of that color whatever she has done most recently, which I would be intrigued to try out. So there we go. Rainbow Days. Okay, we're going to switch back to Shonen with the Hunters Guild Red Hood. So this is done by Yuki Kawaguchi, and he's got a lot of one-shots under his belt, starting in about 2018 in Shonen Jump, Weekly Shonen Jump. So, he's probably, that name is probably familiar to you. He did a one-shot called, I think, Fururedo, Redo Fudo, sorry. And that was in Weekly Shonen Jump. It was a one-shot. And they decided to make it serialized, and they made this. They revamped it into the Hunters Guild Red Hood, and that was serialized in Weekly Shonen Jump. Unfortunately, it is canceled. There is a volume 2 that came out last month on Valentine's Day. If this looks like Little Red Riding Hood, like the fairy tale, it is very much a take on that. So instead of actual wolf, eating grandma and taking on her clothes and trying to eat Little Red Riding Hood, it is actually about werewolves and people who turn into werewolves, and the guild is specific in that they are out to kill all the werewolves that they can find. And this is very, very actiony. Just look at the title there, right? So the lady behind our protagonist Kun, can go shipshaped from being a little girl to that. And the boy, she adopts the boy, takes him under her wing to become part of the guild, to go out and slay werewolves, because he's been trying to protect his village and not doing a very good job of it. But she sees potential, and so they work together as a team to save his village, and then they go on to him training to be part of the Hunters Guild. And this is, again, shonen. It's action. It's just going to be, it's boom, 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 boom. This is a quick read because of that. It's just like Barrage. You're going to get through it pretty quickly. The art is interesting. It is very much fun to look at. The werewolves, though don't look like what you would think as werewolves, but they look quite frankly more horrifying. And apparently Kawaguchi likes bosoms, because boy, you're gonna get a lot of that. So just a warning, not hentai, not yaki, but yeah, it's there. Anyway, so should you read this? if you're interested in shonen, yes, this is an interesting story. I'm sorry that it got canceled. I would be interested actually to read a little bit more about it. It just, I don't know, it just feels like this could be an anime, honestly, if it isn't already. But so anyway, so what happened to Kawaguchi? What is he doing now? He is, according to the Manga Spice people, he is working as an assistant to Yusei Matsui, who's the author of The Elusive Samurai. So if you're wondering what he is up to now, that is what he is doing. If you all happen to have seen this before and you've seen subsequent volumes of this, let me know if it's good, because I did enjoy this, and I would like to read more about it. So there you go. All right, for the next entry, I don't even know where to classify this. I really don't know how. I actually saw the first episode of the anime as part of the anime season watch for the Weekly Dig over at Anime Archaeology, that channel, a year and a half, 2 years ago, I think, at this point. And it's unique, and it's called Shadow's House. There you go. Shadow's House is by Somato. So who is Somato? They are actually two people that still go under by pen names. One is called, the original author is Nisi, and the guy in charge of the art, I guess it's a guy, is Hishi. So two people have come to create the Shadow's House. And the premise of this book is intriguing, is that the girl that is black, yes, that is a separate person. So this palace up in the mountains has this family, or this group of people who are nobles, but they're all black, like as in that they're just shadows, right? They're actually physical manifestations of shadows. They're not intangible, they're tangible. They're actual physical beings. But you don't see a face, you can't see color, none of that. They're literally just shadows. And when they get upset, they kind of give off soot. So you just, like, you see these little things happen. So they have these literal living dolls, so you see the girl right there, and these dolls, as you can tell, she kind of has the same height, shape, kind of look as the shadow, right? So there's a reason for that. So these living dolls, these people that you can actually see as human beings, are supposed to represent the shadows. So when the shadows are, reacting to the public, they have this person standing next to them to be able to convey emotion and what they're feeling and how they're looking, so that people don't get totally disturbed by having to talk to this like living, breathing, talking shadow. So this is the story of Kate, who's the shadow, and her living doll, which is Miliko. If you're into Gothly, boy, you're gonna get what you want. This is all that maid outfit, this whole Victorian thing going on. That is the scene for this manga. It is, when I saw the anime for this a couple years ago, it was visually stunning. I really enjoyed the use of the very good use of CGI with 2D animation, and I was very impressed with the quality of the anime. You will be very impressed with the quality of the art in this as well. So there is definitely quality in this. The story itself is creepy as hell, because in the anime, the living dolls are born and they grow up and they are discovered by the shadows to see if they approximately look like a shadow, one of the shadows, and they're paired up. And it's a great honor, apparently, to do that. In the manga, the inference is that they are born as is. Like, this is how she's made. Like, she is literally a human being, but this is like when she wakes up, for the first time alive, this is what she wakes up as. So she has to learn, Miliko has to learn Kate's mannerisms, and so that she can be a proper living doll for the shadow. as in the anime, Emiliko lives in a box of a room that has this bed that doubles as a cage coffin. I don't know. It's very creepy. The manga is even creepier because Kate talks in the third person. She always refers to herself as Kate instead of I. Miliko is, of course, bumbling, clumsy, kind of goofy, and lovable in that respect. But if she can't be Kate's living doll and being able to function in that way, then they're both in trouble, meaning death. As a matter of fact, for Kate, if she debuts, kind of like a cotillion, or like how like people in the South used to debut when they were 16 years old, right? This is what that is. And if Kate debuts and her living doll doesn't effectively convey expressions, then Kate will be scrapped. So yeah, if you're into Victorian stuff, if you're into gothly, if you're into creepiness, this will definitely do it for you. I have mixed feelings about it. The art is amazing. The story is, again, a little off-putting for me. I didn't continue to watch the anime because I thought the anime was off-putting, even though the art is really spectacular. I mean, if you're going to read this, or if you want to take an interest in this, at least enjoy the art, because you will enjoy it. But if you're not into those kinds of things, it's not bad, right? It's a very specific wheelhouse for some people. Either you like it or you don't. So that's Shadow's House. All right, this is a very interesting manga that I want to show to you. I was really excited to see the sneak peek that this was going to come my way in the Manga Spice cafe boxes, and it's a manga. Actually, it's a series of one-shots put into a volume 4, and it's Tatsuki Fujimoto. And if that name sounds familiar, is because that's the guy who does Chainsaw Man. Yep, that guy. And so if you like his work, you're definitely going to like this. The interesting thing about 1721, which is, I believe, the way he numbered his one-shots, the interesting thing about this is that, and the reason why I want to encourage you to get a hold of this, or one of the other ones that are also one-shots that he numbers as well, is because, and this is the first one that he's done, of publishing his one-shots, because he doesn't normally like to put those things into volume 4, into volumes, is because this shows a progression of his art and his storytelling. In other words, this is not going to have the quality of Chainsaw Man, but it's going to show you how he got there, and that's worth the price of admission right there, is learning how someone, a good author with a good story and interesting art style, moves forward, and you get to see it from the beginning. So it's a series of 4 stories in here. One of them is actually, I actually rented this out of the library a little while ago, and I only got as far as the first story, which I thought was kind of hilarious, and unfortunately I never got to finish it. So now that I own it, I finished it. So the first story is basically aliens come down, wipe out Earth basically, and there's hardly any humans left, and these 2 humans, to avoid being eaten because they're considered delicacies, are in chicken suits, literal chicken suits, like if they were standing outside of a KFC or whatever wearing a chicken suit, come in and eat chickens, and the aliens can't tell that they're not actually chickens, which is kind of interesting because the aliens have overtaken the world so much that they have adopted human culture. So it starts off with monsters looking like, and living regular schoolboy, schoolgirl lives, but in a funny way. There's a twist, obviously, and it's very kind of interesting. So the next one is Sasaki Stopped a Bullet. It's about time travel and the repercussions of that. So that's an interesting one. I don't want to spoil these. The next one is, oh yes, this one. This is kind of funny. Love is Blind, and this is a love story, and the reason why he wrote it the way that he wrote it was because his editor was complaining that he was telling a story in 31 pages when he could tell it in 16 pages. So this is what he tried to do. It's actually quite humorous. The story is quite humorous. The art is interesting, but he gets better, obviously. But the story is a lot of fun. And then there's Shikaku, where a cute assassin psychopath comes across a vampire. And I will just leave it at that. So, this is in your best interest to check this out. If you can find it in your library, if you want to buy it, if you like Chainsaw Man and you want to see a progression of how someone gets better and their initial work and how they move on from that, definitely do yourself a favor and get this. Check it out from the library, wherever you can find it. Borrow it from a friend. It is worth it. Trust me, you will enjoy it. 1721, Tatsuki Fujimoto. Highly recommend. So, one of the things I've been enjoying in terms of anime lately is this spate of anime that is taking old tropes and ideas and making a comedy of sorts out of them. And one of the tropes is, of course, Power Rangers, right? That kind of genre of things, live action and in anime. And so this manga is in that category, right? And it's called Go-Go Loser Ranger by Neji Haruba. And if that name sounds familiar, again, if that name sounds familiar, it's because he did the serialization of, the quintessential quintuplets. So if you like that, then you know who this guy is. Again, this is quite simply a story about these Power Ranger-esque kind of characters who are out there to save the world. And 10 years ago, they actually had this huge battle which wiped out the leadership of the monsters that were trying to take over the Earth. And a deal was struck, and the world doesn't know it, but since then, every Sunday, the fight of the week between various members of the hero squad going against the monsters is actually scripted. The monsters are supposed to lose, and it's supposed to be this ongoing battle because merch. Literally, it's about money. So at this point, so the monsters are more or less immortal. They can be killed, have their heads lopped off, things like that. But unless the heroes use an actual, what's called an artifact, and each one of them has an artifact, that's the only way to actually kill the monsters. Otherwise, you just beat them up and they just regenerate, whatever. And they come back for the next week, and that's how they've been able to do this. And the monsters, of course, lose every single time. One of the monsters has had enough. And he has decided that he's going to infiltrate the hero group and find a way to kill at least the leader, if not all of them. And it's comedy. I know it sounds dark, but it is kind of dark humor. And this monster, he can shape change to look like a human, but he doesn't really have human social skills, if you know what I mean. And so what each hero has a fortress, and they have a staff of people that help them fight the monsters. And so he infiltrates as being one of the staff for the leaders, and he's trying to get through to kill the leader, and hijinks ensue. And there's a psychopathic girl who is part of the hero squad that wants to kill the hero squad, and then there's another guy who wants to destroy the hero structure so that monsters and humans can coexist. And this guy just wants to kill everybody. That's it. It is funny. It is hilarious. I don't know if it's an anime yet or not. I hope it does, because this is just kind of humorous. It's a lot different than the crap ton of isekai we've been getting lately. So yeah, if you want to laugh, you want a little bit of action, and you want a little bit of dark humor, definitely pick this up. It's a fun read. It's a good chuckle. It's a very good chuckle. Okay, we are to the second to last manga of this list. Just wanted to let you know that this manga and the one I'm going to show after it are probably the two best of the bunch, and I highly recommend reading both of them for different reasons. So the one that we're going to talk about now is called Oshi No Ko. We announced that this was coming out a while ago on the weekly dig that you can see over at Anime Archaeology. By the way, link will be down below. And we were just kind of wondering about it because the premise is, and I'll just read it off the back of the book. In show business, lies are a weapon. Goro is an OBYGN, and with a life far removed from the glitz and glamour of the entertainment industry, the world of his favorite idol, rising star Ai Hoshina. But when the two are unexpectedly brought together, their fates become intertwined in ways that defy all reason, and boy does it. For the good doctor, it's time to stand and deliver. That descriptor, and that's kind of what we talked about when we were talking about it a while ago as this was being released. And this cover, boy, isn't misleading. It's good. You should read it, certainly. Yes, very much so. But it's boy, is this grimdark. It starts funny and it goes places hard. It takes a hard left into grimdark territory. So the idea is that this is the idol that the doctor, the OBGYN doctor, is interested in. And you're introduced to him as he's treating a patient for cancer, and he's watching with the patient a performance of hers, and so you get an idea. Of course, he's a bit of an otaku, and he's very much into the idol lifestyle kind of thing, and that's it's his jam, and this is the one person that he enjoys. And it goes on for the first volume, or the first part of the book, first chapter, and this is not a spoiler. He gets killed. Okay, he gets killed, and he comes back. This is not an isekai. He gets reincarnated as one of the twins of her babies, so she becomes his mother. One of the reasons why he's killed, we think, is because of his connection to secretly being her doctor, her prenatal care doctor, and delivering her babies. So, if you're familiar with idol things, you know that idols can't have boyfriends. They can't get pregnant. And remember, she's 16, right? So, scandal, right? So all this plays into that, and he understands it, so he's keeping it down on the down low, but somehow somebody figures it out, kills the good doctor as a result before he can deliver the babies. He's reincarnated as one of the twins of one of her twins. So then it goes on from there, and I don't want to spoil it for you because it's amazing. By the time you get to the end of it, it stops being funny. Right? I mean, there's funny elements, but it turns into a very much of a revenge murder mystery, and that's all I'm going to say about that. So, this is another one of those mangas that is done by two people, Aka Akasaka and Mengo Yokoyari. Both of them have recent credits, or going back, actually more than recent credits. They go back to 2010, 2011. Mango Yokokari has done Scum's Wish in 2012. For those of you who are familiar with that, that was really good. Aka Akakasha, before he got into running mangaka, he actually worked on Dead Man Wonderland, the anime. So that just kind of gives you kind of like the reason why this is so good. It is really, really good, but it is so grimdark. The storytelling is excellent. I am going to continue to read this. Even though this was serialized in the weekly Young Shonen, I think, this is definitely an adult book because of what happens in here in just this first volume. Oh, it's tough, but it's so good. So yes, highly recommend. Okay, the last manga from the Manga Spice Cafe boxes. This is the one that I enjoyed the most. And again, much like Oshi No Ko, I highly, highly recommend the following manga for you to read. I think you should really check this out. It's really, really good. And before I get into it and tell you even what it's about, I'm going to talk to you about the two guys. Again, this is another manga where two people are involved, and you're going to be like, well, it makes sense why you like it so much. So let's talk about the writing. The writing for this manga is outstanding. It does what it's supposed to do. It moves along. It's got a good pace. You are supposed to feel the way that the guy who wrote it just is spot on, and he's a really good writer. And his name is Akinari Asakura. He has won various novelist awards. He wrote the novel of Attack on Titan, End of the World. So if you're familiar with that series and that book, he wrote that. He also wrote Rokunoin Usoki Nagadakusui, sorry for the pronunciation, which is the most current one, and that's actually doing pretty well as well. He wrote a book that became a feature film in Japan called Noir Reverent, and he's won a lot of writing awards. So the guy who wrote the story, top notch. The guy who illustrated the manga is no slouch either. Takeshi Obata. Now, if that sounds familiar, there are reasons why. He's been around for a while. He was born, he's only a couple years older than I am, and I'll leave it at that. And his biggest claim to fame is that he wrote Hikaru no Go, which is one of my favorite mangas of all time. I actually, the whole reason why I actually subscribed to Shonen Jump magazine was because it had that story in it, and I devour. I love it. I suck at the game of Go, but still, one of my favorite mangas of all time. He's won the 2003 Tezuka Osamu Cultural Prize, New Hope Award, and he is also one of the illustrators of Death Note. Yes, another one of my favorite anime of all time. The manga is also good as well, and that's what he did. And so now he also has done, Bakuman. If you're familiar with Bakuman, that's him too. So, wow, stellar team, right? And it shows. So the manga that I've yet to name, that you saw on the title, is Shoha Shoten. Just by looking at the cover, you can tell that this is quality, right? This cover is amazing. The art inside is just as beautiful. It is so good. And again, the story is so well written. And it's about comedy. It's a slice of life, and it's about comedy. So it's these two guys, right? And they want to be a comedy. They want to do comedy as part of their lives. So they manage to find themselves. Sorry, something just popped up there. So they managed to come together as a comedy team. Now, one of the two characters is a child actor. That's this guy. So he was a child actor. So he's okay with being the funny guy, being on the stage. He's used to being on the camera. He's used to improvising and things like that. This guy, of course, sorry for the glare, is an introvert, but he loves comedy, and he has a sad little story at the very beginning as to why he's getting into writing jokes and things like that. It's a little bit tropey. It's almost Love Hina-esque, where he's 2 years prior to this happening. She moves away and she takes her mother's name, or last name, but he never figures out what that is. And she asks him to tell her a joke because her life is crap right now. Their parents are getting divorced, blah, blah, blah. And he can't come up with one, and he feels really bad about it and has since then. So he writes comedy. And the interesting thing is that there's a podcast online in the manga where they say they give a question and you have to write a funny answer to that question, and he apparently wins all the time, and he's considered the best in all of Japan, right? But nobody knows who he is, right? Because he goes under a pen name. So these two guys team up. This one, the child actor, he just wants to do comedy. He's a funny guy. He just wants to do it, and he knows that he doesn't have the writing chops, and he needs a straight man. So once he figures out who this guy is, it's like, oh, you're the guy who writes all the cool, funny answers. You and I should make a team. This is very much the other trope to this is, do they make it to nationals? It's not so much nationals as it is national competitions, comedy competitions, things like that. And of course, there are elements of the family just kind of going, well, it's okay if you want to do it on your own time, but you need to go to Tokyo U and you need to do this, that, and the other thing. So you have to do the thing, which is to win a contest, or else you can't do comedy at all ever. You must give it up. Even though it's tropey, it's written so well that you don't care, right? And it's just so well written, and so it's their journey, this volume 1 of starting off on that journey. Obviously, we know that they continue further, but just reading it is a joy. It's just so positive, and to the point where in the last chapter of volume 1, you meet antagonists, and these are guys who are more experienced than they are, and in doing the comedy thing. And they're in the same competition that they're in, that they have to win in order to be able to do comedy, and not have to give it up forever. And the antagonist guys, who are like, very intimidating, whatever, go out of their way to say to them, before they realize that they have to win this thing no matter what, they actually go out of their way to say, hey, look, you know what, you're gonna bomb out there. It's okay. Just keep doing it. Keep doing it and keep doing it and keep doing it. We'd like to see you come back and compete with you, and you're going to get better. Don't worry. You're going to be fine. What antagonist is ever like that, right? So even though they want to compete and they do want to beat our heroes, right? At the same time, they're just like, but yeah, we want to compete with you. So we want you to do well. Such a positive message. So I am really going to go and go out of my way, much like Oshi No Kai. I'm Oshi No Ko, sorry, not Kai. And read this. This is just really, really nice. It's enjoyable. It's slice of life. It's about comedy. Yeah, there's a little bit of drama in there, but you're not drowned in it. And it's so well constructed, so well illustrated. My goodness. Yes. Please get yourself a copy. You will enjoy it. I promise you. So that's it for the manga reviews. Again, all those books came from the Manga Spice Cafe boxes that you can get online. You get a subscription for it. I got a 3-box subscription. That's what came in with them. And I've had an fun time being able to read all this manga. It's been a goal of mine to kind of jump back into manga a little bit and just to kind of enjoy it, because I do like mangas, as well as anime and all sci-fi and all that other good stuff. So I hope those reviews were helpful to you, and I hope you pick up 1 or 2 or 3 of these mangas and give them a go, and hopefully you'll like them like I like them, or feel the same way about them as I did. So again, thank you so much for watching that. So yes, this concludes the first episode of the season 2023 for the Unagi Observer. Thank you so much for stopping by and watching this video. As always, we are doing stuff over at the Weekly Dig. The link will be down below. There will be changes to the Weekly Dig coming up. They're good, awesome changes. But keep checking us out there. The link will be down below. And stay healthy, stay good, do what you gotta do to get to those conventions and read the manga, see the anime, watch the sci-fi, all that good stuff. Because I love you guys, and I hope to see you next time. Have a good one.